A ver qué nos cuentan. Presentación de Path of Exile 2, parche 0.2.
Game director on Path of Exile 2. Welcome to GGG Live. Well, it's been a little over 3 months since we launched early access, so it's about time for...
¿Se les ha caído el stream a ellos? Sí.
No.
Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, which launches on April 4th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below in order to claim your Executioner's Guillotine finisher effect. Now in today's stream, we're going to take you on a deep dive into the new Dawn of the Hunt update. We'll cover a new class, 5 new Ascendancy classes, and huge expansions on character systems like unique items and support gems. After that, it's on to the in-game improvements, including changes to systems, a bunch of new encounters, and lots
Clase
of other
nueva,
content.
5 nuevas ascendencias, mejoras en el sistema de personajes, incluyendo las gemas de support, mejoras en el endgame y nuevo contenido en game. Me
We have a
gusta.
lot to cover today,
5 nuevas
so let's get started with
ascendencias.
the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt.
Empezamos con la presentación de la liga. Danos de
by
Hunt.
the spirit. It provides prey,
Nada,
shelter,
no hay
even
nada de
love.
ruido.
Solo viene una clase, la
But for
Huntress,
me,
que es una
one day,
lancera.
all that were changed.
El mejor tipo de melee, el melee arranca.
The spirit, it showed
Pero
me
porque otro
something,
melee no hacen nada en un juego como este.
something forbidden. And to defend all I loved, I used it. I lost everything that day.
Destructor, gracias por ese Prime.
But fate
El juego 1 en
weren't
julio.
finished with me yet. I'll right the wrongs I've done. I'll do what I must, no matter the cost. I will hear the spirit once more.
¿Y ese boss?
Qué guapo ese lanzazo.
qué
guapa
bien
mi
se
futura
siente.
clase.
Hostia, qué dinámica.
Hostia, se ha montado.
¡Montura!
Hola.
Qué guapo el smite.
25
Sí.
nuevas habilidades.
Los Wisps.
Azmerian Wisps. Roy, joder.
I shall bathe in your blood.
Tío, nueva support.
Wow.
Tío, nuevo único.
Y 100 únicos.
En cuanto
5
a
nuevas
ascendencia,
ascendencias.
nueva mecánica. Parecía super billón. Era super corrupto.
Eso, ¿cómo se llama lo del vampiro?
Acabamos de ver Calandra.
Eso, Calandra.
Hostia, espero que Calandra no sea una de las mecánicas, por favor.
¿No te gustó Calandra?
No, a nadie le gusta Calandra.
A nadie le gustó que
A
nada.
ver, la antigua Calandra, la nueva no lo sabemos.
Now, as you can see, in Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the first new class since early access to PoE 2, the Huntress. The Huntress is a spear-wielding Azmerian warrior. Born into a society with strict traditions, she was exiled from her homeland after using the power of a skill gem to defend her village. As a dexterous spear user, she specializes in both
Es un
melee
usuario de la
and ranged
destreza.
combat, dashing into and out of battle. Spears have extended range and a short dash, but unlike other melee weapons, you can also throw them.
Puede lanzarlas, pelear
In
cuerpo a
order to make
cuerpo o
a
dasear
hybrid
hacia
ranged
atrás.
and melee character work, we had to do a lot of thinking about ways to make it fun to both enter and exit melee range.
Y es un personaje que
The
tiene
first skill you will get
melee
as a Huntress
range.
is Whirling Slash. As well as striking in a circle around you, this skill creates a whirlwind that blinds your enemies. Leaving the whirlwind will make it explode.
Ciegas a los
The more
enemigos,
Whirling
los
Slash is
explota.
used, the bigger the whirlwind, and the bigger the explosion. Once you're out of there, you'll want to follow up with something ranged. Whip your spear around to shoot twisters towards your foes. These twisters bounce off walls and can hit enemies multiple times. You can also
Torbellinos.
throw twisters inside a whirlwind to shoot out extra tornadoes that do way more damage. In her offhand, the Huntress will usually want to hold a buckler, which allows you to do a new skill.
Habitualmente, escudo y lanza, lo que significa tener dos habilidades de golpe. ¡Mete parry!
Sí, es lo que ponía en la habilidad, parry.
In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike. Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra effects. Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back, damaging enemies in front of you, and it can be used to interrupt other actions, like dodge roll. If you use it against a parried enemy though, it causes an explosion and gives you a frenzy charge.
O sea que puedes ganar cargas de frenzy cuando explotas a los enemigos.
If you parry too much, you're gonna get stunned and
Pararlo todo
possibly
estaría
killed.
absurdamente roto, ¿no crees?
Pero si
You can
bloqueas mal
combine
te
this combo
atumbas.
with whirl and
todo.
slash.
Puedes bloquearlo
Slash,
todo.
parry, disengage, and you'll get an explosion from the
Es cuestión
disengage
de timing.
and the whirling slash.
Sí.
The
Slash,
Huntress
parry,
also has a variety
disengage.
of elemental spear throw attacks.
Me imagino que habrán cosas
You could
que
use
sean
lightning spear to bounce
impaciables.
lightning between your foes.
No.
Or you could throw explosive
No, hay
spears into
cosas-
the ground.
no hay cosas que
These spears take a while to
bloqueables,
detonate,
porque
but when they do,
te dejan
they'll
estar.
incinerate anyone caught in the blast.
Pues se siente muy
All
bien.
spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by
Pone
frenzy
minas.
charges. For
Bueno, para que se
example,
siente, lo tienes
explosive
que-
spears will do an even larger explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos.
Va a tocar jugar
Hostia.
con.
Le ha hecho
The
parry al
whirling slash
salto.
over ground fire will suck it into the whirlwind, adding fire to the explosion. Using twisters inside a fire whirlwind will shoot out fire tornadoes as well. And you can do
Hostia, que
similar
si el
combos
tornado
with
pasa
ice.
por el efecto de suelo,
Lightning
se
too.
enfría, se convierte en rayo o se
Now,
vuelve
a
de
key
fuego.
aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies. Follow up with Disengage and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how much blood loss the enemy has experienced, and the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this.
Upone sangrado.
For example, using Blood Hunt will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion.
Creo que voy a
The more
jugar
blood
la
loss,
elemental,
the
¿no?
bigger the explosion.
A mí esta me ha molado,
If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your enemy for a big bleed. Now, Explosive Spear and Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too, like Storm Lance, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards
Me gusta la
enemies.
lanza eléctrica esta.
But what can you do with all these spears? Detonate them, of
Pero
course.
puedes hacer un combo, en
Thunderous
realidad.
Leap will allow you to jump onto and
Está
explode
poniendo
any
lanzas,
spears,
minas,
either in the ground or in your enemies.
entrándose, es muy dinámica. Y además se ve
Now, as well as
espectacular cuando
hunting
salta por
animals, the
encima.
Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you
Lo
have the
igual es que
ability to
tenga
tame it and
movimiento,
use it
ya.
as a companion. You can only have one companion at a time,
Companion.
but it will
Gente
keep
muy
the
Dark
mods
Souls.
over on it. Try to find a rare
Mira, minion.
beast with good mods to take full advantage of your
Minions.
ability to tame them.
Pero ha dicho que intentes uno. Ya está.
Ali, gracias por ese
Now,
Prime.
this is just the beginning of the Huntress.
Drago, muchas
We've
gracias por ese
really
Prime.
tried to make the hybrid ranged and melee gameplay work for this class by having a huge amount of synergy between ranged and melee options. There are 22 new skills available for the Huntress.
22
By
habilidades
endgame,
nuevas
you'll be
para la
slinging
Huntress.
hundreds of insanely powerful spears, sending forth spirit animals and summoning the might of Solaris from the sky.
Me gusta mucho esa.
O el rayo láser,
But we
tío.
still
Queda
haven't
muy
talked
bien.
about ascendancy classes yet.
El tema es, ¿no
What
serán
can the
mejores
Huntress
clases que
ascend
el
into?
elementalista?
Well, the first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist.
La
The Ritualist
ritualista.
has embraced the darker side of his merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and plague. The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin. When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading
Nuevas
corrupted blood to
tendencias,
all
gente.
enemies around them.
Blood Boil.
The Ritualist also excels in taking
Más
advantage
un hueco
of
de
Madre
anillo.
benefits. The
¿Qué
unfurled
dices?
finger
Ya,
skill allows
está
you to equip an
rotísimo.
additional ring on a finger
Por
around your neck.
el
Taking Mystic Attunement
Cinturón
increases
de
the
mierda.
bonuses of all the rings and amulets
Hay
you
un
have
cinturón que
equipped.
incrementa el efecto de los anillos.
Now, this is one of my
Pues también lo tienes
favorites.
en la
As the
tendencia.
Whispers Ask grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice. Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood, to give you one of their modifiers for a short time.
Te han dado un headhunter.
Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whispers Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse. Cut your own hand, sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself.
Que me gusta,
The Amazon Ascension is for those looking to hunt more than just beasts.
La Amazona.
Trained as an elite guard to the most important Azmeri elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques mastered to perfection. The
Pero la Amazona no es la
skill
misma que la
causes you to
Huntress.
reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare and unique enemies, causing you to deal more damage. You can see those weak
Revela
spots
puntos
represented on their life
frágiles.
bars.
Sí, eso es lo que
While
ves
using
cuando haces
elemental
parry, creo.
infusion, any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact.
¿Qué es Call Infusion,
The
Fire
critical
Infusion,
strike
Lightning
skill is as
Infusion?
simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical
Porcentaje de
strike
tu daño
chance.
como extra de un elemento.
Additionally, you have skills like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech life, and Azmerian Wisps to be able to use either flask to restore
El
both
daño
life
elemental
and
te
mana.
cura automáticamente.
So those are the
Sí,
two new
y puedes hacer
ascendancies for the
flacos te curen vida y mana a la
Huntress,
vez.
but those are not the
Flacos.
only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing classes too.
Eso está roto con el frasco de mana este.
First up, for our warriors out there, we have the Smith of Kitava.
Para el Warrior,
The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by
el
his
Smith
father
of
Renly.
Kitava.
With this ascension, you can take your smithing
coño?
skills to new heights by embracing power
Es
from the
un
herrero.
insatiable one himself, Kitava. Smiths of Kitava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapon.
Tiene como
Using the Against the Anvil
nodos.
notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle. After doing so, your attacks will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation.
Todo el mapa.
You can also use the power of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you. A great blacksmith can do more than just
Qué
forging
guapo
their
el
weapon,
arma,
though.
hombre.
Their armor can be enhanced too. Now you might think this ascendancy class tree looks a little abnormal, and you're right. There's a lot of notable skills all disconnected at the bottom there. By taking this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip body armors with mods of any kind. So your body armor must be normal. Sounds like
¿Qué?
a downside, right? Except now in true blacksmith fashion, you get to craft your own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with your points.
Oh.
Hostia,
If you
qué
want your body
tocho.
armor to grant life, take this notable. If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices.
¿Qué coño?
Think of it like you're
Que
crafting
sea
your
una
own body armor,
resistencia
just in a
gratis.
more literal sense.
No, que lo que
Now,
hace
let's move
es
on
que
to
puedes
those who
hacer los
prefer the
puntos de
reassuring feel of a
resistencia
crossbow
para
in their
poner
hands,
lo
the
que te salga de
mercenary.
los cojones a tu...
Alongside the existing
Pero el
ascension
pet tiene que ser
classes, the
normal,
Gemling
blanco.
Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you
Claro,
can now
pero
play as the Tactician.
Gastar 4 puntos de death es
The
un
Tactician is
hiperpeto.
a
El leveo
former
está
Blackguard
muy bien,
elite.
es muy completo.
Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so. This training comes in the form of various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies.
Sí.
When combined with the right where we want them,
El mercenario que puede
the
ser un
pin not
anti-boot
only stops
stacker
your
si
enemies
te
from
dejan
moving,
cambiar
but
la
stops them
estadística,
from
lo puedes leer
performing
con
actions
esto.
too. Similar to freeze.
los
With
enemigos
a
con
soldier's
pines no,
training,
tienen,
the
no pueden
Tactician
actuar.
also works well.
Múltiples banners.
Using the
Hostia.
whoever pays best notable, you can place multiple banners at once. The Watch How We Do It skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well.
Velocidad de ataque igual a tu main
But
hand
if that
weapon nada
isn't
más.
enough, you can also command
En
your
área.
army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and
Qué
carpet
guapo.
an entire
Lluvia
area
de
with
flechas.
arrows.
Oh, qué limpio se ve.
Finally, witch players will be able to join their legions
La
by becoming
necro.
undead themselves. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich
Lich.
Ascension class.
La Lich.
The Lich is a master of chaos and curses and
La
can
necro.
sacrifice her life
No.
to enhance her
Es
energy.
una maestra del caos.
The crystalline phylactery
Esto es
skill
una
allows you to
ocultista.
nominate a jewel
No,
in
es
which to
ocultista.
contain part of your soul, massively
¿Eh?
increasing its power. There's just one downside to splitting your soul this way, though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up.
No he entendido lo que
The
hay.
necromantic conduit
Tiene
skill
uno de la
causes you and
tendencia
allies
que
in
es
your
un poco
presence
de
to have
Yewell, que
unholy
además
bind,
tiene efectos de
granting
que
extra
tiene
damage
efectos
as
aparte
chaos
de
damage.
la Yewell que le ponga.
Sí, y dice, por ejemplo, que si
Rupture
no
the
tienes
soul
energy
makes
shield te
enemies
incrementa la
who
vida un
curse explode
50%.
with chaos damage when
Ya
slain.
no, el coche
Anda,
creo que es.
nos han devuelto las explosiones de la...
Dominion over
Es
flesh allows
literalmente
you
la
to
última.
apply an additional curse.
¿Cómo se llama esta build?
Profane Bloom.
It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing
No,
the
Profane
Lich
Bloom
class.
es una ascendencia.
So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress,
Y también
todos
and
sabemos
the
que hablamos.
Ascension classes.
Yo
but it
estoy
doesn't
hablando de
end
la
there.
que pone una maldición
Let's
y
take a look
explota
at some
todo.
of the new skills with it. Now you may
Hezblad.
remember we previously talked
La
about the
Hezblad.
Raised Spectre
Pero-
skill.
pero le falta
It's
la-
finally complete, and it will be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill
ver.
gem crafting panel.
El Vine Spectre.
Raised Spectre is a skill that allows you to
Raised
trap the
Spectre.
soul of almost any monster in the game, which you can then summon
Este ya
in the
estaba
skill
preparado
panel.
antes, pero lo pararon porque no les terminaba de cuadrar algo.
Spectres cost
Porque no-
spirit and will
porque no
revive
funcionaba.
automatically if they die,
Bravo.
but the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters.
Hostia, qué
You can
guay.
combine them with their
Parece
existing
gitana.
skeleton minions, or summon exclusively specters. It's all up to you.
Gente, quiero
how
jugar
you
Minion.
customize your army of the undead.
Puedes meter solo espectros si quieres.
Given that there are hundreds
Claro,
and
si te
hundreds of
dejan
monster
gestionar el
variants in Path of
espíritu como
Exile
tú quieras.
2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while.
Esto se
We
lanza
look
el
forward
viernes
to
que
seeing
viene,
which
gente, una
monsters
semanita.
serve you best. Now let's move on to our next skill. Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill.
Para todos.
Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in
Es
combat
un minion sobre el
anytime,
que puedes subir
allowing
aparte de
you to move
moverte.
at full speed, even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can mean almost
Hostia,
certain
que si te
death.
pegan mucho daño te
On
derriban.
the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options
Desde
here.
luego.
To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems.
Como hay muchas builds que no tienen flexibilidad a la hora de
Crystals
ponerte
will
super para
enable a
meter
new
100
kind
más.
of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have
De
done
hecho,
into
más bien,
explosive Vile
no
crystals.
flexibilidad, sino que no tienen nada que les sirva.
Alignment is a
Teníamos
support gem for
6L y
bow
el resto
attacks,
no
which can
podía
reward skilled
ponerte
players
nada.
with good positional skills. Caltrops will allow you to litter the
Porque no hay,
battlefield with
porque no hay.
hazards, slowing your foes as you fling
Hostia, ¿qué
spears
pasa?
through their ranks.
Plantar minas.
But there's
Wow.
plenty more for every
Dios.
playstyle, such as Enormity,
¿Es para Minion?
Unsteady Tempo,
Había uno que hacía tu minion cortar.
¿Y esto qué es?
Profanity,
Van
Retaliate.
demasiado rápido, no puedo leer.
Luego los publicarán en-
Offer.
¡Hostias!
Syzygy. Yep, that's a real word. And many more.
Como salga el parche, ahora
Now
las
we've
noticias.
talked about a new class,
Sí, nos
new
toca
ability
leer.
No hay
classes,
notas,
a ver qué nos
new skills,
No, hoy
and
no
new
hay
support
notas.
gems.
¿Por qué?
But let's not forget about the
Lo han
core
dicho
of a
ellos.
true action RPG,
Cachis.
the items.
100
To
nuevos
start with,
ítems.
let's talk about uniques. We're adding over 100 new unique items.
Bueno, new.
This time, we've made sure to add uniques with a
Estos
focus
son
on
del
mid
uno.
and end-game tiers to make sure there are more exciting items to
Ha
find
dicho que
for
están
higher-level
enfocados
characters.
en
Let's look at some
objetos
examples.
de-
Embrace
o de
your inner
mid-game o de
devil with
endgame, que han
Chernobog's
añadido el
Pillar.
leveling.
It grants you a large amount of fire damage
Para que
based
sea
on your block
interesante.
chance. The Coming
Qué
Calamity
pedazo.
allows you to become a true
Hola.
master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental herald skills without costing
No
any
cuestan
spirit.
espíritus.
At the same time, it penalizes enemy resistances.
Enemigos en su presencia no tienen
No tienen
resistencia.
Waste
Pero eso
damage
está
is a belt
rotísimo.
useful for builds using a
Está
single
muy
resource
ma-
like
muy
Blood
mal hecho,
Magic
¿no?
or Archmage builds.
A ver, no son
With
tan
this belt,
importantes
you can use
los
2
resistencias.
life flasks or 2 mana flasks.
¿No?
It's up to you.
No, porque
Now,
los
we
bichos
could go
tienen
through these all
todo cero,
day,
menos si
but we'll leave
tienen
most of them for
algo
you to discover.
en concreto por un
Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find.
100 nuevos únicos.
Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game. Now, given that we have the
El ítem
Huntress,
tenía que
we
tener
have a
triple
set of
heraldo
unique
sin
spears from
coste
early game
y
all the way
quitan la
through the end
resistencia
game
de
as
los
well.
enemigos.
One example
Vaina
is
hueco de
Cypher's Spear,
temporales.
which combines bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially more damage.
Daño físico,
We're
daño de
also
fuego,
introducing a suite of
bleeding.
unique bucklers with some interesting parry mechanics.
Infinite
Calgyra's Art,
Predative
for example,
Barret
allows you to
Rage.
parry projectiles from any distance. And we're also adding our first unique charms.
Ah, Charm.
Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from Ignite, but will also emit a devastating fire nova whenever you do get ignited. In sum, there's just a ton of new uniques to find. We can't wait to see the weird and broken builds that come out of it. Now, we
No
also
puedo
want to
esperar a
talk
ver las
about
build rotas
crafting
que sacáis.
options. In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the options here.
Cosas nuevas.
We have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the
Organízate,
different
crafteo,
types of new
venga, por fin.
content that we're adding.
A ver
But
qué
for
notas.
now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have one tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by in-game. So we've changed runes to have
3 tiers de
multiple
runas.
tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before.
Bien.
Our plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socketables as we add new content over time. And the first new set
¿Quieren
of those
añadir
comes
más
from what
cosas
we're
para
talking
meter los
about
huecos de
next.
los ítems?
In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding
Y además,
Azmerian
más
Wisps,
tiers.
which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame.
Pues se
The
ve muy bien,
Azmeri
¿eh?
spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears to be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, an Azmeri hunter who is trying to find out what
Vamos a
exactly is
conocer a
causing the
Dalwyn, que
spirit
es
to
el
behave
NPC
this
de
way.
la ISO.
Te encuentras una...
As you approach the
Nuestro
wisps,
trabajo
it
es
will
cazar
flee,
espíritus.
leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal in the Azmerian culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return
Si
to
te
the
alejas, el espíritu despawnea, pero la mecánica
As you
consiste en
continue
perseguir
to
al
chase the
espíritu.
wisp, it
El
will find
espíritu
and
cuando
possess a
toca a alguien
rare
lo
or
bufa.
unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great
Y
Bear,
cuando llegue el
this
momento,
monster now also has increased life
sí,
resistance.
es un
But on top
torment.
of that,
Cuando
it
llegue el
will
momento va a
periodically
poseer un
summon a large
amarillo y le
spectral
va a
bear
meter
that slams
el
with wild fury.
Haunted by Dark y lo convierte en
If
un
you're able to
poseído.
defeat this
Es
foe,
torment.
you will be rewarded. For each monster
Es la mezcla del bosque con
along the
torment.
way, the
Es
rewards will be
torment, pero
increased.
lo
Each
tienes que
wisp has
perseguir.
its own mechanics.
No, es lo mismo que el
The
bosque.
wisp of the winter owl is a primal
Torment
wisp that
está hecho
causes
para que
enemies
No,
to deal
porque el
extra
bosque
cold
se aplica
damage,
solo.
gain energy shield, and
El
release
torment.
wind vortices on death. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host. The wisp of the wild cat is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes
Se ha movido la
and become
balista
more
de
evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb. If you're lucky, you may even find sacred wisps that can do some pretty
Están
crazy things
los
to the monsters
wisps
they
amarillos,
influence.
azules, lilas
Like
y
the
el
wisp of the
Sacred
cunning
Wisp, que es
fox,
dorado,
which turns normal monsters into magics, magic monsters
que
into
convierte a los
rares,
monstruos
and rare
normales
monsters
en,
into
en
actual
raros,
bosses.
a los raros en únicos y que poseerá
No,
un,
normal.
a un raro
Wisps
para
can drop
convertirlo
a
en
new
único.
set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide
único
range
que
of
había
interesting
hecho,
new
¿no?
mods onto your items. Each one may only be
único
used
nada.
on a specific item
No,
slot.
es normal a mágico,
¿Eh?
mágico a raro.
The Azmerian Wisps can be encountered throughout
Te
the
puedes
game.
hacer inmune a
But there's
Corrupted
also a
Blood y
new
ganar
in-game
extra
map
rango
called the
melee.
Azmeri Ranges, a mountain village where the Azmeri once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Azmerian Wisps in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Azmerian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame Atlas tree as well, and
Han
by
aumentado el
tablets.
Atlas Tree.
But I'm not going to be the one
Y le
talking
han
about those
añadido
things. In order to cover all the new content in in-game,
una
I'm going to hand things over to
tableta
Mark.
mecánica.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. There's a ton to talk about with the endgame today,
Espero, hermano.
so let's dig right in. Path of Exile 2's early access began with a brand new endgame, and it was clear that it needed a lot of work.
Endgame.
After absorbing your feedback, we're ready to make some epic changes. The first thing is, we just need a lot more content. In Dawn of the Hunt, we have made sure to focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into
El principal
as you
feedback que han
explore the
recibido es que
endgame.
necesitamos más contenido
And
de
the second
Endgame.
goal is to smoothen the progression through maps and reduce the amount of annoying busy work. To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps. As well as
Nuevos
the
mapas,
Azmeri ranges that
nuevos
Jonathan mentioned
layouts.
earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7
Siete nuevos
other new
layouts.
maps, all
7
with
mapas
their own
nuevos.
custom
Con
encounters.
7 voces.
Let's start with this one.
The Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezemite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy. After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is
Con
coalescing.
una mecánica interna
You
que
can then
consiste en
start
activar
an encounter.
monolitos que activan
The
portales
area
para spawnear al boss.
darkens. A storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss.
Hostia, qué guapo.
You must fight and
Está
defeat the
chulo la
boss
forma
to
de
O sea,
get his
el mapa
rewards.
tiene una mecánica que consiste en
Once you have
activar
defeated
portales
it,
hasta que activas
summon
el boss.
another.
Y aparecen oleadas
And another.
con bosses.
Ah, que
And
puede,
another.
que puede seguir invocando
And
voces.
another. You have 10
Hasta 10
total
veces.
waves of boss fights
Wow.
which get
Tienes
incrementally
10
more
oleadas de
Final.
boss.
If you manage to
con un
defeat
boss
them,
final.
you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can only be
Glitter
obtained
rune.
from this map.
Que solo este mapa te puede dar
Fractured
estas
Lake
runas
contains a
rotas.
surreal
Mira,
waterscape
Calandra.
with fractured mirror-like objects.
Este es otro
As you
layout.
move around the map, the terrain itself
Calandra.
elevates from below,
No te
creating
calles.
the
Calandra.
ground you walk on. In this unique map, all the rare monsters are mirrored, so
Es un
you're
mapa
always
único.
fighting two of the same rare at the same time,
¿Cómo lo sabes?
which can prove
Y dice
quite
que
difficult.
todos los...
If you manage to
Todos los raros
overcome
están
that
mirror,
challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful
ahí
altar-like
está, the
object
mirror
that
of
contains an
Calandra.
item within it. The item contained within is a new
Más
base
3 niveles
type,
a los minions.
either an amulet or a
El
ring,
simple.
El
that can
simplex,
be
el
crafted to have
simplex.
additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of
Pero
the
no tienen
other.
que ver tus
The
efectos.
last unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a
No, estos
crystalline
tres son
cavern,
únicos.
and you will find a powerful
Mecánica
map
nueva.
boss imprisoned in the
Esencias.
center.
Esencias.
No,
It is surrounded
otro
by
mapa
many
único.
rare
Los
monsters,
tres que hemos visto
also
son mapas
imprisoned in
únicos.
essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss. How brave are
Según
you?
tú vas matando
How
las
many
esencias
essences will
del
you add to the
mapa,
boss?
vas
Sí.
upgradeando al boss.
Overdo it, and you might lose everything.
Pero esto
Underdo
es
it, and you
la...
might regret it. It's your
Esta es la
choice.
mecánica que ya tenemos en el 1.
Speaking of
El boss
essences,
va a volver más fuerte con cada
alongside
esencia
visual
que le metas
improvements,
dentro.
you're now able to apply Valorbs to corrupt the essences with
Y
a
podemos
range of
corromper esencias.
unpredictable outcomes.
Está bien que utilice
It could
el
increase the number of essences,
Baal y no utilice el Remnant.
reroll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences.
Hostia, qué tocho.
What if they're already greater essences? Well,
Insanity.
it can
Insanity.
upgrade those too.
Ha metido las
Pueden
esencias
haber
Four
nuevas.
new corrupted
Nuevas
essences.
esencias, nuevas mecánicas de
Essence of
esencias, posibilidad de
hysteria,
corromperlas.
delirium, horror, and insanity.
Y ha metido las 4 mega
Each
esencias en
corrupted
este
essence
juego.
has its own
Ya sabemos lo que
interesting
toca hacer
combat
ahora, ¿no?
mechanics.
¿Toca
For
volver a
example,
formar esencias?
the essence
Necesito
of insanity
Orticrafting.
causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real
Se
one
pira.
before a
Que encima le
devastating
da
icy
cualidades, como
explosion
por ejemplo
freezes
hacerle
everything around
clones.
it.
Y tienes que descubrir cuál es el clon bueno.
Each of these has their own crafting outcomes. The essence of insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Valorb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
LOL. Hostia.
It's worth
Yes.
noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added 10 extra Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps.
Vale. Con lo cual
Now,
hay otros 10 puntos
UMAPs
más que
are
vamos a
just
ganar
the
haciendo
beginning.
estos mapas únicos.
We had a goal where we wanted to make
Hay que
sure you were
acordarse.
constantly
Faltan mapas
finding
únicos
exciting new
porque digan,
content,
porque has
and
dicho
that it could be
5
lurking
mapas
around
únicos.
any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles. Others
Más
like
cosas
you
que podemos
who have
hacer en los
been
mapas, no
exiled
Exile,
and are
metrallas.
openly hostile. Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items.
Esa es nueva, ¿no?
They
Adrienne no
aren't just
estaba.
dressed up in those items, they're actually using them.
No.
It's going to feel like a true player versus
otro
player
juego de
situation.
Madre mía, podían haber jugado con
Of
una
course,
útil.
if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their
te
life
dice
bar,
que únicos
you want to
tiene.
be damn sure you kill them.
Ah,
Because
¿verdad?
if they kill you and your
Tiene
party,
Demon Stitcher y
they'll
la otra, y
portal out,
si lo
taking
matas,
their items
sí,
Sí,
with
dropeas
porque
un
el mouse
ítem.
remaining.
Every
Puede
fight will
volver
feel
atrás.
completely different depending on the items they come equipped with.
Eso está muy bien.
These exiles are much smarter than your regular monster.
Pero si
They
te
have
matas
capabilities to dodge roll, avoid your
Como en
abilities with
Metrallas.
smart
Va a haber una
pathfinding,
serie de enemigos con los que te
smart
puedes pelear, si
targeting,
los matas, le
and
ganas lo que
much
sea que
more
lleven equipado.
action-packed gameplay.
es rogue
Pero si te
style,
matas,
pero
se
con
van.
falla.
Fortunately, they're like you,
No, Rogue
and they're
Style,
not super
con-
Es
durable.
se empeñan en meter
Unless,
hardcore,
of course, they're wearing uniques like Cal's Heart,
Hardcore.
in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire
12
your
nuevos
honor
Rogue
in
Exile con
combat.
personalidad y habilidades propias.
Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes. Strongboxes are
Nuevas
chests with
Strongbox
modifiers.
únicas.
When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot. Let's take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity,
va a
the
dropear
Strongbox revives it again,
ningún ítem
adding
en la
an extra
caja,
modifier
pero los
to the
bichos
monster.
sí y van a revivir 5
With each
veces.
resurrection,
Y cada vez
it
que
becomes
revive
more
tiene
difficult,
modificadores extra.
but also more rewarding.
Por tanto, más recompensa.
This Strongbox
Es decir,
is
te doy 5
infused with
bichos de
thaumaturgy
recompensa.
from ancient file technology. Eshell's Torment has a powerful artifact inside.
Contiene
and is
item,
guarded by chaos
unique item,
itself.
corrupted. Con una
Defeating the
capacidad
monsters
enchant.
will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for
Hay unas
yourself
trabajos,
to see what they do.
Hay unas trabas.
Y hay 2 más, una de... ¡Hola, qué
Now,
guapas!
let's talk about the
4 cajas
introduction to
únicas.
the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption
to help restore the
Doñani te
land.
pone un curro, límpiame la corrupción.
However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted
luego
to
la
make the
misión te
quest to
manda a limpiar
unlock your
15
Atlas
mapas.
passives much more interesting.
Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast.
Sigue
In
siendo
the
3
center
actos.
of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and
Ha dicho
amalgamates
que
into
lo de
powerful
matar
monsters.
todos los de estos de tier 1, 2,
Corrupted
3 ya
maps
no.
existed
Que
on the
ahora lo
Atlas
que tienes que
before,
hacer es
but we've
perseguir
done
estos
significant work on improving
Perseguir la
these maps.
corrupción para dar con estos nexos de
We've also done
corrupción.
a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the Nexus, you will have a new task. Cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses. Amalgamations of
Ay, que
corruption
las zonas
itself.
de corrupción cuando
After
terminas con
defeating
los
that boss,
amarillos te
Doriani
aparece
will
un boss
come and
de
cleanse the
billón.
corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill
Hola,
tree.
colchoncete, ¿estás todo bueno?
The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps.
¿Qué coño?
We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining
Dicen que arriba
surrounding
derecho los mapas
corrupted
hay una
maps will
checklist de
become
mecánicas.
cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new
Cuando
monsters,
tú limpias un mapa corrupto, le mete una
a new
mecánica
boss,
diferente.
and their own set of
O sea,
modifiers and
transforma la
rewards,
corrupción en otra
Pero
cosa.
¿qué es el
including finding
cristal?
fracturing orbs by slaying
El
cleansed
cristal sale
enemies.
cuando limpias una zona corrupta, todo lo que no esté hecho se
These
transforma.
orbs can be used in
Oh,
crafting on
fracturing
a
orb.
rare
Y a
item to cause
fracturar.
one of its modifiers to become fractured. A
Mucho
fractured
vale
modifier is
pasta.
one that cannot be
Eso es
modified
muy
by
caro.
any means.
Y eso es
You are able to
la hostia,
freely
por
modify the
desgracia.
item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed. You must now choose. Do you complete all the corrupted maps
No creo.
and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps
Creo que lo
cleansed.
fracturar solo viene de los
Both have
cristalizados.
rewards to entice you
De
and
la
challenges to
corrupción
assess.
está transformada.
Now, let's have a talk about towers.
One thing we've had a
Oh,
lot of
vale.
feedback
Vale.
on is the busy work around
A ver, ¿qué
running
pasa con las
towers
torres
and
ahora?
managing your tablets. The first
Después
change
pones
we've made
tres
here is
tablas.
that we have reduced the number of towers drastically.
Hay
So there are
menos
now
torres.
1/3 as many as
Muchas menos
before,
torres.
but we've made them much more powerful.
Pero a cambio
To
una
start
sola torre
with,
puede poner 3
tablets now
placas.
inherently add twice as many mechanics. But that's not
¿Cuánto
all.
el rango de una torre?
Running
Vamos.
higher tier maps and
Enorme,
towers
mira.
now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double,
Según la-
allowing a single tablet to
la-
now add 4 times as many
Coño,
mechanics as
según
before.
el mapa que corras en la
So,
torre,
We're running far fewer
mejoras la
towers,
torre, para que
dealing
no
with
te
fewer
tires
tablets,
tiers de mierda.
and affecting even more maps than before.
28
But
mapas en
because
el
there are
rango
fewer
contienen
towers
20.
overlapping with each other, you won't get as many
Porque
opportunities to
duplica lo que
stack different
hace el
tablets.
100%.
In order to
Es-
solve this,
las tablas
we've
son
made it
los
so that
estantes
each tower
antiguos.
can consume up to 3 tablets at
Lo de
once.
caras.
You always get one
Entonces, si
slot
corres
on
mapas
completing the
rojos
tower,
en estas torres,
but if you can
desbloqueas
complete
meter
a
hasta
tower
3
with more
bufas o
mods on the
alrededor.
waystone, you can unlock a second or third slot.
por
Overall,
modificadores.
this allows for even
O
more
sea, que si
juicing
le
from
metes un
towers,
tier
while
con 6
drastically reducing
modificadores,
the amount of busy work you
desbloqueas
have
las
to
torres
do.
al 100%. No
On
es
top of
tanto
that,
que
No,
el
towers
towers
are
sea
much
alto.
more
Esa.
interesting maps because they can
Esa
now
torre.
spawn with
Lo
all
primero,
mechanics,
el tier del
including
mapa
bosses.
incluye cuántos
Each
mapas
tower
va a
map has a
mejorar.
new boss. Let's
Y
take a
luego-
look at a couple here.
The boss fight of the
El-
Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches
Los
in
modificadores del
the
mapa.
territory.
sea, tienes más huecos.
One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither.
Se están
The
peleando
boss
las
of the
torres, el
sinking
boss de
spire
fuego
map
y
is
el
a
de frío, y
remnant
de
of the
quién gana
vine
ninguno.
that has been
A mí no me
charged with
engaña, esos
light.
son lunares y solaris.
It
Y
uses
luego
a
está
full
este que es el
suite
del
of
rayo.
lightning abilities. But be careful. If any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up.
Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot. A lot more than we had expected. And that
Dice que
made
había
us
un problema
realize
con el
something.
sustain de Waystone.
During the campaign, the
Y dice que se
expectation
da
is that you can
cuenta
die multiple times in order to learn how to
Dice que-
overcome
Que el
el
trauma.
problema
de que la
reside
gente
en que
no
la gente
tuviera-
muere
Able to learn
demasiado.
how the
Es que la
monsters
gente
behave,
palmaba.
adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the end game, you're effectively no longer allowed to die if you
No
want
te
to
creo.
sustain waystones. By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly
Mensaje
shouldn't be
del
that we have such a
desarrollador.
sudden shift
¿Quieres tener
as you
Waystone?
run
No
your
mueras.
first maps.
No, creo que va a decir
The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you
tienes
die,
portales hasta
Sí.
según vas subiendo de tier vas
continuing
perdiendo
from where you
portales.
left off. When you start the
Vamos, que
endgame,
luego a tanque,
you get
¿no?
up to
En este
6
juego.
total attempts per map.
No hace falta, o si lo deleteas
As
todo.
you add more modifiers to a
dice
waystone,
en la
the
Waystone.
number of respawns
Ah.
goes
Ya,
up.
9 portales.
Los portales
This
dependen del
means
número de
that as you get to the
modificadores.
point that you're running every
O sea, el
waystone as
mapa
a
tier
rare,
1,
you
si
will
le
have
metes
to
6
be more
modificadores, tiene un portal. Pero si le metes 2 modificadores, tienes 5.
careful. In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times.
Y que en party es un portal por cabeza.
But
Ah,
we
cada
still think it's
persona
important that
levanta
you
sus
can kill a
propios
boss in
portales.
one go. In order to allow that to happen,
Si yo entro
we've
en
made a
party, yo
change
tengo
so
6
that
portales
once you
para mí.
start the boss
Y
fight,
tienes al lado
it
del nombre
changes
el
over to
número
the
de
same
portales.
respawning
Sí, claro,
system
pero
we
como
use for
el
pinnacle
mapa lo abre una sola
bosses.
persona como en P1,
This
lo abre...
means that the
Mi
map
portal
owner
no
can choose to
despawnea.
respawn everyone at the same time.
Claro, pero me refiero, tú abres el mapa y yo puedo entrar en tu mapa.
Sí, claro.
¿Cómo decir el mapa
Another
cuántos
complaint
portales
we've
tengo
seen
que
a
tener?
lot of is
Está
players
en
not
icono al
wanting
lado
to
de
do the
tu-
pinnacle
Sí, no, pero
content
ahí te dice
because of the
cuánto, ¿cómo
La
experience
Waystone.
penalty from
La Waystone que está abierta.
Si la
A
Waystone te la
change
pone.
we've made here is that all pinnacle
si veis, son
content
6
now
portales,
no
cada uno
longer
tenemos 6
grants
portales.
experience, but also no longer removes
Sí.
experience
Eso
from
entiendo.
death either.
Vale, entonces era lo que me faltaba a mí.
Dawn of the Hunt
Y el boss
also
también
brings
tiene
the
6
first
intentos.
batch of
Hostia, pues
Twilight
eso está bien,
Order
eso me gusta,
reliquary
que los portales
keys
sean
from the
individuales.
early access supporter packs.
Vaya, por un momento pensaba en
These
la
keys
primera.
contain
Hola,
items selected by
reliquary.
our supporters.
Que
They
lo
can
van a meter en
contain
la anterior y
any
no lo
unique
metieron.
item found in Path of Exile
Objeto de
2.
A
cobrines.
por los foil.
If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items.
Dice que hay una caja,
For example,
que es esta
Hand of
caja,
Wisdom in
la-
action can only come from a key
la Reliquary
dropped by
Key, que la
Zesh.
abres cuando te queda una Reliquary Key que te dropea un ítem único. Pero si el ítem único
We're
es
also
específico
making a
de
change
una
that allows
mecánica, como es
pinnacle
ser
boss
brecha o lo que
uniques to
sea,
drop at any
solo los
difficulty.
bosses de brecha te van a soltar una key
Rarer
que te
uniques
permita
will be
sacar
rarer
reliquias.
at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop charges for the reliquary keys
Uy,
from
¿eso?
this content as
Un
well.
diamante.
We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets. Each of these adds crazy interactions to the maps
Tablas
influenced by
únicas
it.
de-
Tablas únicas que te dan
For
interacciones
example,
muy
this unique
concretas.
tablet allows you to
no me
run
voy a leer
any
eso.
map in a tower's
los
radius
mapas son
without
corruptos, creo que pasa.
requiring connections,
A ver.
which can be quite useful for jumping gaps
no,
and
influencia de
traveling
algo,
around
¿no?
your atlas. And this tablet causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all
Ah, tablas
expedition
únicas con
monsters
poderes
that
especiales
attack.
como
duplican los
duplicar
rúnicos.
todos los
The
bichos
Atlas
rúnicos.
tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there.
Y han
and
actualizado la
improvements
ruta
to
de
existing
todas las
ones too.
mecánicas que quieras.
Now, through this live stream, we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences, fractured mods, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about.
No me lo
Recombination.
creo.
El
Expedition
recombinador.
was the only
Recombinador.
in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change.
Te lo da-
Recombination is a
te-
mechanic
Win,
that
win, win.
might be familiar to some
Win, win,
players.
Es de win, win,
It
win.
allows you to merge
Es de
two
todos.
items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item. This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts
¿Verdad?
found during expeditions to fuel it.
Van a ser unos ítems
The
rotísimos
rarer
esta
the mods
liga.
on the item you are
Bueno,
combining,
a partir de
the
aquí
more
será, ¿no? Porque
expensive the
son
cost.
tracores.
That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting maps, and obliterating monsters.
Tal cual.
There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start
Dice que
over and
mantiene la
get
liga
the full
cero,
new
el
experience
estándar, para
in
que
the
puedas
Dawn
jugar
of
con
the
tu
Hunt
personaje ya
leagues.
hecho, pero que van a
For all our
ofrecernos empezar
existing
una
early
liga
access
nueva.
players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update. For those who don't already have access
Okay,
and are
gracias por
interested in
Prime.
playing Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, you are able to at any time purchase an early access supporter pack
¿Por qué es
at
tan hermoso? Porque mi mamá me dijo así.
www.pathofexile2.com.
Ha dicho que todo este contenido lo puedes utilizar en tu personaje
Additionally, the
preexistentes
Paladin
en la
and Penance
temporada.
supporter packs are now available to purchase in Path of Exile 2 and contain 6 microtransactions
Es decir, que el
each,
azul está muy
and
chulo.
the full pack's face
Sí,
value
está pensando
includes.
justamente eso.
All the microtransactions contained within these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
We're just about to start the Q&A
que van a
with Ziggy D.
mantener la liga actual,
With release at the
pero
end
que
of
van a
next
hacer
week,
una nueva liga
our
con nueva
community
economía
team will
por si
be
os
posting
apetece
crucial
jugar
information
R3.
you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. On
Pues
release
not bad.
weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and many new microtransactions, including Path of Exile 2's first
rápido han doblado
ultimate
aquí.
skill effects.
La rodilla. Han
Thanks
quitado
for
la
joining
rodilla.
us today and checking
Ahora
out our
hablamos.
latest developments. We're looking forward to playing the Huntress, trying new builds, and exploring the new endgame next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Vale. Taco, opiniones.
Guay, buena pinta, pero me sorprende muchísimo lo de los portales.
O sea,
Yo, bien.
tan hardcore como pretendían que fuera y acaban de poner el culete, pero
La rodilla
rápidamente.
no tiene más.
A ver, sí. Lo que han hecho es para los más nuevos, porque al final para los mapas más tochos vas a seguir teniendo un portal.
No vas a... O sea, lo difícil que es montar un mapa de 6 mods es... No te lo vas a encontrar.
Ah, vale. Yo no
Fíjate,
juego
porque
por
lo de-
en ese sentido,
o sea,
recuérdalo.
Porque no hay
scoring.
scoring. Como te salga el mapa es lo que hace. A no ser que quieras meterle 4 exaltes.
Ah, vale.
Sí, pero el
Tú
tema
le
es que cuando te
metes
pongas a
el
preparar
regalo.
los mapas, prepararás 15 o 20 y los que te salgan buenos te los guardarás.
No he visto todavía que un alquimista de 6 mods.
Ni yo tampoco.
Pues ya está.
Bueno, para quien no haya pillado el punto, el juego era obligatoriamente... ¿cómo se llama?
Ruthless.
Rootless. El juego era obligatoriamente rootless, con un solo portal, con un solo todo. Y ahora lo han flexibilizado un montón. ¿Por qué? Porque han llegado un montón de gente y han tenido que doblar la patita para intentar que esa gente se quede jugándolo. Normal, razonable. Bien.
Sorprendente.